Okay, this is off. Just gonna leave it because that's how it is. I was wondering about this. Oh, this is better. Okay. Good morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Messages. I'm Candace Smith, and I'm on location. Yeah, they're probably updating my studio to something very nice. So, see what happens when we get back. What I was thinking was like, instead of saying, "How was your week?" that would mean we would be looking into the past. So, now we'll start saying, like, what do you want out of this week? Setting your intentions, getting excited about your goals. What do you want to accomplish? How do you want to feel? Who do you want to meet? What kind of money do you want to have? Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's quiet. Um, what do you really want for this week? So instead of us kind of rehashing things in the past, which isn't always where we want to be, right? Living in the past, we want to think about like what's ahead. What can we change? How can we make it better? Where have we learned a lesson? Where can we help others? So I thought that was kind of a nice thing to be looking forward because one, I don't remember my week. And two, if you're watching and you're like, how was my week? It was garbage. And I'd almost forgotten about it until you said something. So, thumbs down. So after I pictured that scenario, I thought, well, how could you thumbs down? Like, what do you want from this week? So the message that came to me this morning was, and right, always fun and entertaining, supposedly, um, it was like your past. And um, I was thinking about like when you think about your past, you're still attached to it. I'm still that person. I still feel bad about these things. I still, um, I'm embarrassed. I'm hurt. I'm guilty. All of those emotions that come with how you feel now. So, I'm, you know, it, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure we all understand how you can drag those emotions and feelings into the present, which of course kind of clouds your current experiences and your relationships and how you feel. So, initially I was kind of thinking like, okay, your past is like, I don't know a better way to say it, but it's like that part of you is dead, right? That's not me anymore. I'm someone new. I'm someone different. And it doesn't mean that like you're perfect or amazing. You are amazing. Um, but that you um, have to be so distanced from it, or that it doesn't mean that you'll make new mistakes, and it doesn't mean that you don't still, maybe feel like things could have been different or you wanted them to be different, but they don't get tangled up in what you're currently experiencing. So I have tended to think about it that way as far as like, it's each part of your past is kind of like a death, right? And you feel guilty and then you mourn and then you sort of miss it, but then you sort of bring it into your present. And then I was like, well, what if it was like quitting a job, which I have done many times. I have been, let's see, I've quit that day. I've quit with 2 weeks notice. Remember we talked about like the 45 jobs I've had um, in my short 25 years of life. Um, yeah, been fired, been let go, been downsized, been asked to leave. That's always nice. It's like, could you just please? And we're going to ask, but really, it's sort of a requirement. So I've experienced every scenario, I'm pretty sure, that's out there for leaving a job or a career behind. So, and I'm probably thinking of it because I was telling someone about last night, and they were like, which was your favorite one? I'm like, kind of depends on which aspect we're focusing on. Um, but what if like the past that we like quit? We just said we're done, and it's like just like a job, like you're not still that job. I guess if you don't like it, right? If you're a doctor and you still love it, no need to quit literally or metaphorically. We want to keep like rational thoughts going in the morning. But if it's something that you no longer do, you no longer love, and you no longer associate yourself with, then it's like I'm not still a waitress. I could if I had to, but I don't get up for in the mornings and like get my apron and all the things that iron my shirt. I don't know if anyone irons anymore. I know I don't, but I used to. And I wasn't very good at it. So that was one less career I had the option to look at. Um, but, you know, it's kind of the same thing. Like you've had these experiences and you still think you're that person. Like, I'm this person. I'm still bad. I'm still upset. I'm still guilty. I'm still embarrassed. I'm still hurt. And you're really not. I mean, it is your past and it is something that you've quit. So, you know, as kind of a metaphor, when you have quit your jobs, you can quit your past. And it's kind of empowering to think about, like, um, you know, you could like quit today. You could give your 2 weeks, you know, if it's going to take you that long, because you're not your past anymore. Unless, again, it is something that you love about yourself and you've had great experiences and you want to continue to carry those memories and those experiences for joy and to share with others and that really help you grow and uh, continue to remind you of lessons, then it's a good thing. But when the past is something that keeps telling you that you're someone else now than you were and you're still that person, that's when it gets tricky. Because you're bringing those feelings, those characteristics, those, you know, it's just not going to be 100% of who you are. Um, I don't know. I guess if it's like if I went into work and I'm like, well, I'm going to go waitress for an hour on my lunch break, you know, you're I mean, yes, of course, if you wanted to like have more money and sort of do that, but you are splitting up your day and your time with something that's your career that you're focused on, and then you're stopping to do something else that maybe you don't love or enjoy. Now, if there's a goal behind it, if for some reason, I don't know, in some ways, like you think of the past and you have understood the lesson that came from that, you've forgiven yourself, you've forgiven others, you remember it as based on this experience, this is driving me to be a better person, to make changes, to help others, to teach my kids, to treat my parents better. So if you're taking those lessons from the past and you're integrating that information, those experiences, and those lessons for others, then you're going to be building that person that you want to be. When you carry all of the experiences of, sort of what we would call like the negative associations with that, then you're kind of building that into what you want to be. So if you were like, okay, you're a robot and we're going to build you to make you a robot this week. And you're like, oh, great, bring in that stuff I did in high school. Yeah, bring in this thing that I did to my parents. And, that time that, I broke up with someone or like literally lost a job or treated someone this way. Or, it's like, they'd be like, you don't want those parts into what you're building now. And it'd be like putting bad parts in a car. Now I have two metaphors: a broken down car and quitting a job. And I've also had both of those things happen at one time. It's actually my excuse. But then when you get your car fixed, they expect you to come back in, so it's sort of weird. Um, or like you get that tow truck and they're like, did you get a ride in? And you're like, tow truck doesn't bring people to work. It's the law. Um, so think about what you're building this week. Think about who you want to be, and do you want to bring those components of other people's experiences, other people's thoughts and feelings and perceptions about you, your own perceptions and feelings about yourself that aren't helping you feel better, they're not helping you learn, they're not helping you grow. Like leave those parts out from what you're building and really try to see what it is that you're bringing into your future, because hopefully you can quit your past or parts of your past, um, and just leave them as who you were, because we're not still those things that we used to do, right? I mean, and you think about the reasons that you left that, right? I didn't have enough learning or further education. I didn't have support. I didn't have compassion. I didn't have the wide scope of how things work socially, professionally, with relationships. So, so glad I remember that, because I thought of it first and then I forgot. And here we are. So, thanks, universe. Um, and then I just forgot again. What was I saying? Um, Darn, well, that was fast. Well, I guess you've heard it, now you can rewind it. But yes, it's like, what did you not get? Or what was the outcome that you didn't want that you could have done differently that you needed? So it's kind of like the past when you're like, oh, I can't believe I did that. But, like, you're a different person. You didn't have love. You didn't have compassion. You didn't have, your parents telling you something, or your friends supporting you, or whatever it is. Your boyfriend, your siblings, your experiences, your external family. So without those scenarios in place where, it wasn't like I had the perfect scenario and I really just, looked it in the eye and said, this is not what I want with my life. I want to do terrible things. Maybe those people are out there. And if you're watching, there's still time. But for most of us, I think that we're comparing ourselves now to, like, how could I do that? That is bizarre. And it's like, well, because you were a completely different person. There were things that you were missing at that time that didn't allow that experience to continue. And that's fine. Like, you, in some ways, would have to understand that you think that you're the same person and you're not. And sometimes it can be maddening to try to remember and look back and understand who you were at that time to make those decisions and to act that way. And we've talked about before, like, you can really tell yourself that you love the person that you were and give them a hug and say it's okay. Because I'm assuming that for the most part, like, if you could meet your past self would be really happy for you to be non-judgmental, to give your past self a hug and say everything's fine, you're going to be okay, and really have that unconditional love, that missing judgment that you feel like you're still giving yourself now. So whatever those were, you just didn't have what you needed at the time to make any better decisions. I know people say know better, do better, and that's true. And probably could have just come on and said that and saved y'all some time. But I had some stories to tell. And so that's pretty much it for today. Quit your past. Give us 2 weeks. Leave the same day. Ink slip, not showing up, going to the lake or the pool or the sofa and let it go and decide, what kind of person you want to build this week. What are your hopes? What are your dreams? What are your intentions? And start to think ahead. I was so excited to think about that because I was like, let's not talk about last week. I don't remember last week. And maybe some people aren't excited about it. And if you want to think about it, then that'll be your choice if you want to bring something you learned into this week. So I think that was it. Hope you like, the decor that the staff spent a very long time building up today. But have a great week. Work your week. Don't work this week. And I will see you next week, and hopefully in some, surprising place, but who knows. All right. If you need me, I'm here for you. And that's it. I'll do an awkward leave, as I always do. Even when I'm not at my house, I can still make this weird. Bye.